This is just a topic that was thrown up and a question, and it is a question that I've answered before, and but I want to address it again because obviously with a couple hundred videos on the channel, um, it will get missed, and not only that, I might have some new nuances here. John, how did you cope with seeing Jeshua being crucified in front of you? Did he say on the cross, God, why have you forsaken me? Let's start with the second part of that. Did he say on the cross, God, why have you forsaken me? I don't necessarily remember that exact phrase in Aramaic or English, but he did have his time on the cross where he was wailing in his suffering. And feeling separate from love and separate from God, and why have you forsaken me is an interesting thing. But that phrase itself is an Old Testament reference that is supposed to be fulfilling an Old Testament prophecy. And so I tend to believe that because I don't believe in the Messiah, I don't believe, and I don't believe Jeshua believed in the Messiah either, which is why we didn't work with the Essenes, because they wanted him to be a Messiah and create an army and go fight Rome, and he wouldn't do it. But there were moments. I mean, he was a man, and he was going through some horrible things. But even in those moments, he had his moments of lucidity where he would make me almost laugh, and then fall back out crying again. Now let's go to the first part of this. If you ever heard my regression, which is on my website, you hear me at the crucifixion. You hear me screaming, you hear me wailing, you hear me crying. And the regressionist had to take me out of my emotions so that I could continue. Two things were happening for Johannes ben Zebedee. Johannes ben Zebedee was there at the foot of the cross for two specific reasons. One, he never at any point or time wanted to leave Jeshua's side, ever. He was a staunch defender. He was everything in John's life was Jeshua. And that's why my regression went the way it did, because she thought she was leading me to the death of John. Instead, she says, how would you feel about seeing his death? And there was nothing more important than Jeshua. So John would have been there anyway. But Jeshua specifically asked him to take care of his mother and his wife. So John was there taking care of his mother and his wife. And so, though this was devastating, John had to somewhat pull his composure together to take care of his mother and his wife. And eventually, John had to get into the mindset of, I need to get them away from here. Because after a while, it got to the point where they were literally beating up the followers. They were punishing the people who were there in support of Jeshua. And there were a lot of people who were there who were not in support of Jeshua. There was a lot of people there who didn't believe in anything he taught. But it was a very dangerous place to be. And so I got his wife and his mother, and I got them out of the city. I came back and I helped carry him to the tomb. I remember carrying him to the tomb. I don't remember seeing him again after that until on the beach in Galilee. Later is when I finally saw him again, and he had no injuries whatsoever. But at that point, I had taken his mother and his wife, and I had left the surroundings of Jerusalem and gotten them up to Galilee for their own protection, their own safety. What was it like being there? It was devastating, but it was devastating, and he had to keep his stuff together because he had promises he had made and promises he kept. But it was, and still affects me today when I talk about this subject. I think about this subject. It makes me. I feel it. I feel it, and now I've been talking about this now for 20 years now. I mean, my regression was in the year 2000, and to 22 years I've been talking about this. So I've gotten to a point now where I can deal with it. But early on, I couldn't listen to my regression, and still today, when I listen to my regression, I still tear up because when I listen to my regression, I see it, I experience it again. I'm remembering it, and it gets me every time. So that's my answer to these two questions, and I hope it answers your questions. And you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye. Thank you, my friends, for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure that you've subscribed and you like it, you share it, but also comment below it. Let's get this community talking about these topics and spreading this information out far and wide so we can change the world for the better. Thank you.